Tessa's POV dinner exceeded my expectations tonight, as I practically moaned after each delicate bite of my steak. It was the best thing I had ever tasted, and even Kane had complimented its flavor, claiming that it was a new chef on weekends. Speaking of weekends, I couldn't believe that it was Saturday already. My week had been so transformative that it has completely shuffled my life around, leaving me lost for days. You like Seth, don't you? Kane's question meets my ears as we both approach the end of our dinner together, the question itself causing for me to straighten up. I hope he hasn't gotten the wrong idea when he seen us both talking in the kitchen earlier. What? I all but managed to respond, cursing myself for sounding even more suspicious than intended. You seem comfortable enough to be around him. Not so nervous like how you can get. Kane continues, chewing the last of his meat as I nod once in understanding of what he was saying. Why yeah, he's got a softer side, like you. I explain, watching him grab the table napkin to wipe his mouth before placing it down to indicate that he was now done. You regard me as being soft? He questions, raising a brow in curiosity as my eyes widen a little at how insulting that must sound to him. And not soft. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just mean, softer towards me. You are both a little more light-hearted around me, and I appreciate it because I didn't expect to find that from any males. I attempt to explain myself, before following his lead to grab my own table napkin to wipe my mouth. He studies me with the intensity of his green eyes, as I take the silence as a chance to reach forward for my glass of water, taking a long sip. You were taught that us males were just killing machines? Kane ponders, as I sort of shrug a little before nodding once in agreement. That was one way to put it. Well, that's not totally wrong, because we can be, Kane adds, as I clear my throat a little at the thought of seeing him angry to the point of no return. I hadn't even seen or asked to see his wolf yet. We weren't supposed to either. We were taught that they would share their wolf with us when they see fit. More or less whenever they feel they have found the right match for them. We are nice to the people we like, just remember that. My friends are pretty much your friends until I say otherwise, Tessa. Kane explains, as I digest his words. Yeah, I guess he's right, although he wasn't fully aware of what Seth had openly offered to help me with earlier, and for that, I would be grateful for. Before our conversation could progress any further, the door to the dining room is tossed open, revealing an alarmed-looking Anthony. I tried to mind-link you, Kane. He states, taking the time to catch his breath as though he had just run a mile to get here. I've got it blocked. We were having dinner. What is it? Kane seems irritated, standing from his chair to his full height as I remain seated with my head lowered to avoid looking too nosy. It's Leo. He's furious. He's marched himself all the way up to the gates demanding to see you. He's also fucking drunk, which doesn't help. Anthony shares the update, as I feel the color drain from my face at the mention of the terrible man in question. Does he know that I was in his home? Maybe he has hidden cameras and caught it all on tape? Is he going to stick me into Kane? I glue my lips shut, deciding it would be best for me to just wait it out for now. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe he's just up here to complain about something silly since he is drunk after all. What the fuck does that fool want now? Kane grits out in agitation, as Anthony throws me a short glance before returning his attention back to Kane. He's claiming that his human has gone missing and that it's Tessa's fault. Anthony rushes out, offering me a pitiful look before it is replaced with a blank expression only seconds later. Did I just hear that right? Erin is missing? Has she run off? Oh God, no. If she has gone on the run, that only means one thing. The human will be deemed a rebel if she has gone on the run. Bring him up here at once. Kane demands in his alpha tone, as my heart sinks at the truth behind his words. Erin wouldn't do that. She's not that stupid. She's signing her own death certificate if she's attempted to run off like that. There's no way. I watch Anthony exit the room again, leaving only myself and Kane in the dining room. Kane, please. I begin, panic surging through me before he makes a swift move to grab my bicep before guiding me up and onto my feet. Come on. He states bluntly, uninterested in anything in which I have to say on the matter. He guides us towards a room closer to the front of the house, a sort of tea room if you could call it that, as he pushes me in ahead of him first. Sit there. He points to a specific chair, as I move quickly to do just that, growing nervous at how quickly his mood has switched up. He's going to find out everything, and Seth is nowhere to be seen to even back me up with this. It was his suggestion after all. A few minutes pass, before the hustle of men approaching comes into earshot as I turn to glance out of the front window from where I was seated. Kane exits the room to open the main door, leaving it slightly ajar, which allows me to still hear the whole commotion from my current spot. That fucking bitch. Alpha. You better get that whore tracked down for me and right this instant. You owe me that much. Leo's disorderly voice is heard shouting in distress as I wrap my arms around my body in an attempt to comfort myself and my racing heart. Leo will most definitely kill Aaron if he gets his hands on her again. Who the fuck are you to storm up here and say that I owe you anything, mutt? Kane is heard responding harshly, seeming fully pissed off already with Leo's intrusion. Yes, you do actually owe it to me. Now get your best man to bring her back before it's too damn late. Leo thunders, and I almost cringe at the disrespect he was showing towards Kane as his alpha. That was a major red flag, and I think him being drunk right now will only give him so many get out of jail cards before Kane's temper will snap completely. I remain silent and on edge, hearing the whole commotion go on from right outside of the room. Why do you fucking think that I owe you anything? Kane retorts, furious and growing impatient with the fool. This is not going to end well, I can tell that much. If it weren't for that hellish dinner you had invited us to, she wouldn't have even had the courage to attempt to run off. Leo shouts loudly, as the other men are quickly heard shushing him and telling him to calm down as he evidently grows even more distressed. This must be what Aaron had to deal with in his home. I suggest that you fucking lower your tone or I'll be forced to make you. Kane sounds dangerous, like a madman waiting to pounce on his victim. But would that be a bad thing? Kane giving Leo a warning? Maybe that's what this man needs. It sounds to me that he is far too cocky around here and has clearly forgotten who the real alpha actually is. Why don't you get your human under control first, alpha? Help us all out here. Leo argues, the alcohol overshadowing his judgment as he directly brings me into the argument and causes for my heart to sink. Please no. What the fuck has my human got to do with your human running off? Maybe if you weren't a fucking drunk pig she would have stayed. Kane slams, as I almost snigger at the drunken pig comment, despite being too terrified in this moment to move. Your human is the whole fucking reason for mine running off. I know they devised a plan when they went off to the bathroom together during dinner. That little bitch is sneaky and you know it. She has you wrapped around her go. D-damn finger. Leo fumes, yelling as loud as he possibly could before a hellish growl is released next, causing me to gasp loudly at the escalation. What he's claiming isn't even true. I hear a sudden yell, followed by the sound of the stones crackling from outside as I turn in my chair once again to see Kane on top of Leo hammering punch after punch into the man's face without mercy. I watch on for only a second, before it becomes unbearable as I turn away from the fight, knowing that if I were to involve myself in this at all, Kane could of course turn on me at any moment. Just stay here, be quiet. The other men, one of them in which I had recognized as Anthony, stood aside and allowed for the fight to unfold, if you could even call it a fight with Kane's power being unmatched. I guess Leo should just be lucky that Kane didn't shift into his wolf form, for that would only mean certain death for him. Tessa's POV, take him to the pit and bring him back in the morning when he's sober. I hear Kane spit out, after what felt like hours of arguing and fighting. To what I had gathered after the yelling and grunting in agony had ceased, Leo was knocked out unconscious and was now being dragged across the gravel to be taken to whatever the pit was. Whatever it meant, it didn't sound nice, that was for sure. I hear him coming back inside, before the front door is slammed shut, which causes for me to jump out of my skin at the loud noise. Seth, where have you been? I hear Kane breathe out, as my eyes widen when hearing him address Seth now. Went to my dad's for dinner, bro. Got here as quick as I could when Anthony linked me. I hear Seth's voice, as I breathe in and out in an attempt to calm my worry. Aw shit, forgot it's a Saturday night, you go there now. Kane responds, satisfied with his friend's excuse for being late to the commotion, before Kane coughs twice from outside of the room. What the fuck was that about? Anthony, is he? Ard next, confirming that all three of them were inside now and that the others must have taken Leo away from the house. With that question, my mind comes crashing back to what had actually just happened. Erin has run off, she's tried to flee, thinking that it was her only hope. I just wish she wouldn't have left so soon. I could have tried harder to help her, having been given an extra day or two. She's sentencing herself to certain death out there on her own against the wolves. Anybody that runs away from their match will be seen as rebelling against the laws and will therefore be hunted for their disobedience. The girl has run off from what I've gathered, but he seems to think Tessa is to blame. Kane retorts, before movement is heard and the door to my room is pushed open. The first thing I take note of is Kane's swollen and blood-soaked hands, cut and bruised to tatters as they hang by his sides. Why your hands? I blunder, as he enters the room with Seth and Anthony following in next at his back. That's the least of my worries. Can you tell me what that was all about? Kane slams his next question towards me, as I open and close my mouth in hunt of the right thing to say. He remains standing, whilst the other two make a move to plop down on a seat in the room surrounding me. Don't know? I didn't tell Erin T to run. I promise. Why would I do that? She will get killed out there on her own. I respond, my eyes begging Keynes to believe me as I feel the strained water build up. Well, Leo seems to believe that you helped her come up with a plan when you both went to the bathroom that night. Where exactly did he get that idea from, Tessa? Keynes' interrogation continues, as I splutter to find an answer. No, that's not what happened. I defend, my lungs feeling as thought they were being squeezed. This day alone was overbearing, never mind to have Kane accuse me of convincing my best friend to run off into the wild to only be hunted and killed. Then what did you two discuss? Kane fires back, beginning to pace back and forth across the floor as I glance to Seth, who avoids meeting my eye. We spoke about how Erin hated being stuck with Leo. She told me about where she had to sleep and the way he made her feel. My head falls forward, recounting what we had actually discussed that night in the bathroom, before I feel the first tear fall from my cheek. Then what did you say? Tell her to run off and hide? Kane stresses his irritation with the way in which he shoots each word directly at me. Of course not. I said that I would try to help, I admit, feeling the world around me come crashing down on top of me like a tower of bricks. Help how? Kane suddenly stops in his pacing, before approaching me in quick strides, leaning down to grab my cheeks between his blood-soaked thumb and fingers, forcing me to look him dead in the eye. By asking why you to help her, I stumble, admitting my original plan, as Kane's piercing eyes search my own for any sign of a lie. That whole part wasn't a lie. After a second, he releases my face, standing back up to his full height once again as his two friends and next in lines remain silent, allowing for us to have it out. Seth, have a team sent out to find the girl before this all blows out of proportion. Anthony, make sure none of the men who have witnessed this tonight speak another word of it to anyone until we have it back under control. Kane shifts his attention to his two friends, thankfully offering me some air to collect myself as much as possible. You go and wait upstairs. Kane points an accusing finger at me, as I scramble to my feet and make my way towards the door. With that, I attempt to pass by him, before his hand darts out to grip my forearm in his large and rough hands, pulling me closer to him as Seth and Anthony both leave us alone. You're not telling me everything here, Angel, and don't think that I'm a fucking fool. I'll get it out of you, one way or another. Kane's icy threat reaches my ears, as I shiver under his touch before he releases me and sends me on my way upstairs. Kane is going to find out that I went to visit Erin today. It's going to all be over for me. He won't want to keep me around if I'm proving to be this much trouble for him already either. I can't lie to him forever. I'm only digging myself a deeper hole, but it was Seth's idea after all. But would Seth tell the truth or let me take the fall for him? I'm pretty sure if Kane had to believe one of us that it wouldn't be me. I stumble my way up to my room, locking the door behind me before throwing myself on the familiar bed with a sob. This all fucking sucks. Why did this all have to happen to my best friend? I sob out into the pillow, feeling the sick dread creep back up on me at the thought of where exactly Erin could be now. It isn't long before my door handle is tried, as I remember I had locked it in my upset. Crap. Tessa, open the fucking door now. I gasp and rush towards the door, hearing how pissed off Kane was sounding. With a simple click, Kane barges his way through, scanning the room before turning to face me. Locking the fucking door won't keep you safe. Kane sneers, his eyes a darker shade than usual as I lower my head to show my respect. I am sorry, I reply, hearing his heavy breathing as he seems to battle with himself to calm down. What aren't you telling me? Kane demands, as my eyes snap up to meet his own once more, wide and panicked that he knew something was off about the whole thing. I remain silent, unsure of how to even string together a response good enough for him. Before he grips my hips and turns me until my back is against the wall, he takes the position as a chance to fully cage me in, with his arms being placed on both sides and his body close. If I wasn't so terrified of him finding out what I had done today behind his back, I would maybe find this position rather attractive. Wait, what am I saying? Speak. He states, his lips only inches from my ear and causing for me to shiver. I don't know what to say. I cry out, as he only gets closer, his lips now touching my ear and his hips fully pressed against my front now. I'll get you to talk one way or another. He speaks slowly, this time his lips moving against my ear as he does so, causing a cheap thrill to erupt from within. Why am I enjoying this torment? He's completely pissed off with me and could switch up on me like he had done with Leo any second. Come on, Angel, tell me your secret. His voice comes out low and dangerous compared to before, as his soft lips trace their way down my neck and to my collarbone. With that, he begins to kiss and suck the skin, as my eyes roll back and my body tries to comprehend what was happening. Oh, I all but manage, feeling him harden against my front, drawing attention to that area and causing me to blush a bright red. We weren't supposed to involve ourselves in anything like this until after the trial period when things were more permanent. He knows that. Tell me, Angel, or I'll stop, he teases, as my heart skips a beat and a battle takes place between my heart and my head. Kane's POV sexual scene ahead. She's hiding something and I fucking know it. I've had enough pent-up anger for one day. I'll try and approach this situation a little differently. Do you want me to stop? I growl lowly, my lips still against that sweet spot which I know would make the perfect area for my mark. Tessa stammers, her shyness taking over above all else as she battles with her emotions. She likes this. I can sense it. Be honest, Angel, does it feel nice? I push on, returning to the kissing and nibbling of her tender skin. I hear her breathing increase along with her heart rate as I take full charge of assaulting her neck, no doubt leaving hickeys behind. It does, but we aren't supposed to, she tries to reason, as I smile at the weak attempt to ask me to stop. Not supposed to have sex, I confirm in her ear, as she nods profusely to agree with my statement. Well, it's a good thing that we can still touch then, isn't it? I test, moving my hand from her hip before running it up her abdomen and under her sweatshirt, feeling her shiver under the contact. I stop just below her breast, continuing to kiss and suck her neck as her breathing becomes labored. Why your hands, they are hurt. She whines, as I shake my head and detach myself momentarily. I pull back ever so slightly, providing enough room to bring my free hand up for her to view, seeing that it was cleaned and almost completely healed. But how? Her brows knit together as she inspects it, reaching out to feel the once busted skin for herself. Alpha blood, we heal faster, I state, not wanting to waste much more time on the topic, and with that thought, I grab her raised hand and pin it above her head before moving the other from under her shirt, reaching up to grab her breast. It all becomes too much, with the kissing and the massaging, before her first moan is released, giving me confirmation that she was enjoying this moment way more than she would be too shy to admit. She's mine, fully under my control. Do you want me to continue, Angel? I whisper in her ear, as my movements begin to slow, causing for her to become desperate once again for that euphoric feeling. She shakes her head from side to side, as I smirk at the action. I need words. I demand, peppering light kisses down her neck once more. And no, she confirms, only fueling my horny wolf as I pick up the pace once again, with her body writhing against me. You better start fucking talking, Angel, or I'll stop completely. I warn her, before removing my hand from her chest, pulling back from her in order to remove her sweat. Without protest, she allows me to pull it up and over her head, revealing her lacy black bra holding up her perfect tits on full display. I need more than that, and by the looks of it, so does she. I reach around her back, unhooking the clips, as her cheeks blush a darker shade of pink, feeling her breasts burst free from their restraints. I lean back, taking a mental note of how fucking perfect her tits actually were, whilst trying to keep what little control I had left. She was right, we shouldn't be doing this shit yet, but at this point I was set on keeping her around after the trial anyway, so what real harm would it cause? Our secret. With one hand I grab her bare chest, before taking her face in my other hand, pulling her into a heated kiss. Was this fucking real? Maybe I had blacked out from the intensity of the day and was making this shit up? I just didn't expect for her to be up for this so soon, but I'm not complaining. Speak. I growl, taking the kisses down her neck as she moans out again, feeling my thumb swipe over her hardening nipple. I can't. Tessa cries, before another moan comes next when my other hand finds her other tit and begins to give it the same attention. Fucking talk or I won't make you feel this damn good ever again, Tess. I push further, enjoying this method of interrogation far more than anything else I had in mind. Poor thing won't stand a chance now, she's far too turned on. I did something sneaky, she blunders, as I chuckle darkly and enjoy pulling the information out of her like this. And? I state, practically smelling her arousal as it fills the room next. I don't want you to, she moans, causing my wolf to stir from within me, begging to go the full way with the female but knowing that we can't. You don't want me to what? I question, taking a turn at grinding my hardening cock into her front just a little, causing for her nails to grip into my biceps from the action. I don't want you to get rid of me. I like it here, with you. She admits, as I almost feel guilty at using her own feelings against her to find out the truth. I guess this is a win-win though, right? She likes it. I won't get rid of you. But I need you to be honest. Do you understand? I state, before feeling her nod frantically, her eyes falling over in the heat of the moment. Here's what's going to happen, Angel. I'll make you feel good, and you're going to tell me exactly what I don't know. And if you keep talking, I'll keep making you feel the best you've ever felt. I pull back ever so slightly just to look her in the eyes, seeing them glazed over with lust. She looks so fucking good like this. I need to keep my cool. But no sex, alright? She stammers nervously, as I shake my head to confirm that we wouldn't go that far. Start talking. I command, before taking the time to kiss down her neck, down her chest, before reaching her breasts. Earlier today, Seth C came to check on me, she begins, as my ears perk up at the mention of Seth and how he might be involved. MHM? I mumble, making my way to her tender nipple, beginning to suck around it first. Well, he asked about Aaron, and, she moans loudly as soon as I begin to suck on the nub, as I decide to give her some release for beginning to tell me the truth. After a moment, I detach myself, leaving her panting, before I begin to move across to the other, giving them equal attention. Seth asked about Aaron, and said that he didn't like Leo, and I thought that maybe this was my only chance to help her, because I knew that things were real bad for her, Tessa explains, as I run a slow hand down her side, teasing her soft skin and feeling her shiver beneath me. Then what? I push on, reaching around to grab her round ass a little, pulling her hips forward and into my front. He showed a little interest in Aaron, and off. Aired to go to her home to do a check-in to give me some peace of mind. That was before you asked if he could hang out with me a little longer. Oh, her lips part as I circle my hand around to her front, beginning to rub her sweet spot through her leggings as she grows more eager for what I'm guessing will be her first ever release. The thought of that alone was enough to make me spill. So you went to her house, is that it? I cut to the chase, looking at her to see her nod in confirmation before her eyes glaze over again as I pick up the pace with rubbing her. You're a bad girl for that, hiding that shit from me, I state, rubbing her harder as she breathes and pants under my touch. I'm sorry, please. I need more, Tessa begs, her words shocking me and making me feel more excited than ever before. Tell me what happened when you went to the house, and I'll give you what you want. I bargain, seeing her nod desperately to comply. At least now I know how to get her to fess up to things, and it's a method we can both enjoy. So, Leah was out when we got there, and Aaron let us both in, she explains, as I begin to tug down her leggings little by little until they are about halfway down her legs. Lacy thong. Seth walked around the house to do the checks and I went to the kitchen with Aaron to talk, and that's when she showed me the burns Leo had given her on her arms. Tessa brings me up to speed with it all as I nod in understanding. What then? I test, moving my hand to find her clit through the lacy material, rubbing slow agonizing circles with my thumb. Gee God, well, she moans, as I writhe each time I hear the sweet sound escape past her lips. Keep talking or I won't finish, I warn, taking note of how fucking sexy she looked when she was under my control like this. Seth saw the marks, G got all pissed off and we left her there, Tessa states, as I think of the information briefly, pausing. In my teasing. Please Kane, Tessa begs, her voice sounding needy as I chuckle slightly. So that was all? There's nothing else? I push on, seeing her shake her head. And no, I swear. She begs, and with that, I put my hand down her pants and begin to rub her tight pussy as she squirms and goes weak at the knees against me. I hold her up with my free hand, using the wall to pin her in place as her moans grow louder by the second, each breath causing my dick to stiffen more if at all possible. I feel, Tessa pants, seeming to panic at the new rush of emotion as I only quicken my assault, using every ounce of strength not to push my fingers into her tight hole just yet. Take it slow. What's happening? She cries, a moaning mess as her tits bounce ever so slightly with each rub of her pussy. Let it happen, come for me, Angel. I demand, and within seconds, her wet juices cover my hand completely and she becomes weak in my hold. At least now I have what I need, and all for a good price. Kane's POV. I paced the room, having had run Tessa a bath which she was currently in whilst I thought back on the new information I was given. Why would Seth be so willing to check in on the girl? Never mind leave her behind after seeing her burn arms? Typically he would have came and told me about something as serious as that. Perhaps I had been overly harsh whenever Tessa had tried to ask for my help with helping her friend, but I didn't see it fair to take away Leo's one chance at having a family, although my mind was most definitely changed now. After seeing how out of control he had acted earlier when he turned up here only confirmed to me that he had a problem. Maybe the poor girl has run off thinking that there was no hope left for her here? After Seth and Tessa left her alone after seeing what he had done to her. But the fact that she was out there somewhere only posed a bigger threat for our society as a whole. If we are letting the humans escape without precaution, there could be an uprising again which would only result in mass slaughter. Everything we have built would be ripped apart and the other packs wouldn't be happy to find that our humans were risking it all to escape. I should have listened to Tessa to begin with and things wouldn't have gone this far. I turn when hearing the bathroom door open, seeing Tessa exit with her hair wrapped up in a towel wearing some fresh blue silk pajamas. It's been a long day for the both of us. Get into bed and get a good sleep, I still have stuff to do. I explain, watching her chew her lip in deep thought. Quit doing that, I warn, as she squints slightly before realizing what I'm talking about, removing her lip from between her teeth in an instant. I can't go to sleep. Erin is still out there, she breathes nervously, seeming worried to how I would respond. I'm dealing with it. I'll have her brought back here, alive. I nod sternly, determination filling me. It was the best I could do after shutting her up time and time again whenever she tried to express worry for her friend's evidently horrible situation. I didn't want to involve myself too early given that couples tend to work out their differences over the 2-week trial or even so decide to call it quits and continue the search for someone else, but in this specific instance, it seems that Leo wasn't ready for giving the girl up and seen her as more of an object above all else. Can you please wake me up as soon as you find her? If I even manage to fall asleep, that is? Tessa asks, approaching the bed in which she was accustomed to since being here. Sure. I'll make this right, you have my word. I confirm once more, offering her a final nod to receive a small smile in return. Maybe Leo was right, this human girl does seem to have me wrapped around her finger already, slowly but surely. With that, I turn off the light, leaving her bedside lamp alive, BEF. Or closing the door to the room behind me as I exit. Anthony, Seth, where are you two? I send out a quick mind link in search of my two friends, to which Anthony responds quite quickly too. I'm at your office. Seth is here too, he confirms, as I maneuver around the house swiftly making my way towards my office. Opening the doors, I am greeted with a once again fresh working space, minus the shit had successfully smashed into a dozen pieces earlier which was no longer solvable. Just as I am about to talk, I am distracted by another one of my men behind me, Alpha, still no sign of the girl yet. We are starting to think that somebody has taken her in or that she's hiding in a building without anyone knowing. Can't even get a scent. As for Leo, he's in the pit sobering up and still shouting, he updates, as I nod along with his words to show I'm listening. I think we can explain that, Kane. I turn towards Anthony, confusion consuming me next as he seems to know more than what meets the eye. Very well, you are dismissed. Have Leo supervised for the next 10 hours and brought to me first thing in the morning for questioning. I demand, as the guard tilts his head forward to show his submission before turning to make his exit. He closes the door behind him, giving us our privacy as I turn back towards my two friends who sit opposite my desk. I make my way around the table, sitting down opposite them both and taking mental note that Seth had barely uttered a word to me all day, compared to normal. Spill it. You're fucking up to something, Seth, I can smell it written all over you. I state the obvious, as Anthony bites back a laugh and Seth looks conflicted. Look, don't kill me, right, but first of all, and don't go on a rampage with the poor girl either because it was all me, but I took Tessa to visit Erin earlier when you had asked me to keep an eye on her during your meeting. Seth admits, pinching his nose with his fingers as I shake my head from side to side and click my tongue for added effect. Tell me something I don't know, fucking asshole. I retort, as Seth's eyes widen and Anthony finds the amusement in the whole thing. You do? But how? Seth's brows furrow, as I shrug, not prepared to admit the lengths I had gone to in order to pull out the truth from Tessa. Tessa admitted it, I all but state, as Seth groans and rolls his eyes dramatically. Bet me to it then, huh? The little witch. Seth huffs like a stubborn child, as Anthony chuckles from beside him. Which is fine, I suppose, but you seen what happened to Leo after he called this one's human a bitch, right? I'd be careful with the words if I were you. Anthony continues to laugh out, seeming to shed humor on tonight's previous events. Seth's lips pull up into a smirk at Anthony's comment, as he too struggles to maintain the whole soppy child act, which is appropriate since she ratted me out. Seth defends, as I shake my head in disbelief at him. What, and you weren't just about to rat yourself out to me? What can I say? I'm a man that can't be lied to. I laugh, thinking on how long both Tessa and Seth had actually managed to keep their secret from me. Anyway, with all humor and jokes put aside, we still weren't any closer to finding the human girl who was currently on the run. Back to the main concern, we need to find the girl, and alive. I promised Tessa that I'd bring her here. I admit, cringing ever so slightly with just how weak it makes me sound. I sound like one of those soppy males who get bossed around by their human mate, and believe me, those men exist. Some of the largest and strongest of our kind I've witnessed crumbling for their partners. Well, you can stop worrying about her being out on the run, Kane, Anthony states, folding his arms across his chest as I lean forward slightly. What the fuck does that mean? Don't tell me she's turned up dead somewhere. How will I take that news back to Tessa? I looked at Oni for more information, seeing him do nothing other than tilt his head in the direction of Seth as an indication that he had something to do with it all. Of course. Seth, quit the shit. What have you done this time? You're taking that beta role and you're seriously using it to your advantage, aren't you? Asshole. I groan, as Seth waves me off dramatically. Quit calling me an asshole. He retorts, as I scoff at his stubbornness, which might I add was a trait he had owned since we were both young children. Quit acting like an asshole then? I push back, as Anthony presses his lips shut to avoid another laugh escaping. I'm glad he's enjoying himself out of all people. Well, you see, I may have just took things into my own hands, because I just thought you were too busy. Seth begins, as I roll my eyes at his excuses and wait for him to continue. Did Tessa tell you about the burns yet? He pauses, as I nod my confirmation. He fucking tied her to a chair and used a cigar to burn holes up her arms. I put her down, you know, at the judgment day, but by the time it came around to my second date he had already whisked her away on the damn train. When I seen her at the dinner with him it just felt twisted. So I'll admit, when Tessa was worried about her too, my curiosity got the better of me and I wanted to check in. Seth goes off on a rant, clearly angered that the judgment day hadn't turned out the way he had planned. Fuck, it was even a major thing for Seth to put anyone's number down at a judgment day. When I seen the marks, right after seeing the dirty bare mattress he had her sleeping on compared to the rest of the home, I just fucking lost it. Seth admits, his fists clenching into balls at the memory of it all. So what did you do? I question, needing to get to the bottom of where Erin was now. Well, first of all I brought Tessa home, after I told Erin I would be back to help her. Tessa didn't know anything past that point though, it was all from there. We came back and that's when we found you and the aftermath of your tantrums. Seth snorts slightly, as I growl lowly at his mockery as he waves me off once more. Once we brought Tessa upstairs to you. I knew that I only had a little bit of time before Leo would return home to her and so I went back there and took her out of there. Seth states boldly, holding his arms across himself to establish his stubbornness once again. I pause for a moment, digesting his truth, before I sigh heavily. Where is she now then, Seth? I question, knowing it was against the law to take another male's human from them. At my dad's, in the basement, he confirms, as I nod once. Well, at least she's alive, right?